Welcome, welcome. It's the Mina's House Podcast, episode 155. I'm Mina. Say what?
I'm Shayna B.
Garnett Briscoe, aka Sherlock Homeboy.
Dexter Stuckey, aka Dex the One.
How was y'all Thanksgiving? Welcome back. Are we 5 pounds heavier?
We are 5 pounds heavier for sure.
I think it evened out.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Girl, I had lost 5 pounds. I had a quarantine 15 and then I lost 5 pounds and then I gained it back this week that I was off during Thanksgiving. So
Okay,
I'm
I
a
had
little
the
chunky.
25 and it's just not going anywhere.
I've been doing that little Megan Thee Stallion body, yada, 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 body crazy to do my little workouts. Like, I've been doing that. And I'm like, yo, my blood pressure be all high doing it. I be out of breath. It takes some stamina to do that body dance. Especially the part where she makes her butt jiggle.
Listen, I tried and failed. I was done.
I want to say congratulations to Pooh, because Pooh passed his test, his realtor test today. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. One more step.
Get it, Pooh.
Listen, so because of our guest Jamisa, Pooh was inspired to take real estate classes.
See, y'all are inspiring people, Mina. You do something for us every week with these guests.
Look, I hope somebody out there is inspired. Look, all it takes is somebody to put the bug in your ear, and then you just got to go with it. So one thing that I like about Garnett is you tell him something once and then he runs with it. So it's not somebody where you got to keep like, did you do this? Are you doing this? Like, you only got to put a little spark in his head, and then he's off to the races. So congratulations.
Thank y'all.
So let's get into what's in our feed, because we have some very special guests joining the pod today. We have some ladies from the Grammy board, Deanna Williams and Helen Bruner, joining us. Now, these two are going to kind of break down how the Grammys do what they do, you know, based off our conversation last week, and then also just how we're seeing this backlash of, again, as it happens every year, of people being upset with the Grammys. More artists coming forward this year. The Weeknd, Drake, big artists are saying that the Grammys are just not what it is. So we're going to talk to those ladies so they can explain to us how it happened, so we're understanding of the process before we criticize and talk about it. So they're going to be joining us later in the pod. But first, let's get into what's in our feed and jump right in it. These COVID numbers are crazy. We're seeing double what we saw during the first wave, but somehow I don't feel like people are taking it as serious this time. You know, the first time around, people were quarantined in the house. Now this second wave, it's worse. And people are still running around acting like there's no Rona out there. Reginae Carter, Lil Wayne's daughter, celebrated her 22nd birthday in the club. Lil Wayne was out there. Toya was out there. Zanique's pregnant ass was out there. No mask. They was in the club turning up. I mean, why do you think this is happening? It's worse, but I almost feel like people are acting like it's not worse than what it was the first time.
The South is booming right now. I don't know what it is, but I know everybody is catching flights to Atlanta. So it's something going on out there. But I think maybe people may not be taking it as serious because, one, I think we started to live through it a little bit. And two, it's not like it's a force of shutdown everywhere. You know, it's only certain places. Other places, you're allowed to do, I'm not gonna say do whatever you want, but
yes, you are.
Apparently.
What do you right? You give somebody an inch, they gonna take a foot. So you know that's
One of the comments I've seen on one of my favorite blogs that I know is one of Dex's favorite blogs, because I always like his comments, was, I feel like we're not living on the same planet. And I was confused too, like, how are they in the club? And again, like you said, it goes down to the restrictions. We can't even have 10 people in our houses, but y'all in the club turning up. I do also feel like this wave is two different things. This wave is definitely bigger because we're in our winter season, cold, flu, where people would get sick, which would make me think you would want to protect yourself even more because we do know we're in our winter cold flu season on top of having this pandemic.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think people are bored, and it's one of those situations where it's like they're not gonna let it stop them. And then if the city is allowing them to do stuff, they're gonna do it. To be honest with you, I feel like Philadelphia will be the same way, and New Jersey and everything, if the city allowed it. Like the city puts like real strict restrictions up, and we're not allowed to do that stuff. And people still kind of sneak and do little things here and there. But in Atlanta, like it's like their government officials are just like, I don't see nothing. I don't see it. So you guys can do whatever you want to do.
You know, I have a lot of DJ friends and I've talked to them. You know, I took this week off for Thanksgiving week and I've talked to a lot of them, and a lot of them are like, there's this thing in the DJ world where they're telling DJs to go down to Atlanta to work because up here, there's no clubs. There's not a lot of clubs happening. A lot of things are shut down. I'm like, damn, you got to travel to Atlanta to work and then you got to get the COVID. And it's like, if people were being safe, I would be like, okay, I'll show up to work. But like, there's not a mask in sight. Not a mask in sight.
It's been like that for months, though. I told y'all a couple months when I went down there, it was myself, it was the girls from Vegas. We had our masks on, and people were looking at us like we were crazy for having our mask on. Like it's so loose down there. Like although a lot of the stores say it's more like mask suggested, like but it's not mandatory. And I just feel like it's out of control. Look at Texas. Texas on Thanksgiving Day, we're supposed to go to Texas for Christmas. We felt good, like, oh, Texas numbers been good. CNN comes on. Texas had the highest number of coronavirus cases in one day. And I'm like, well, it's not where we going. San Antonio.
Well, we can probably blame Lil Baby for those numbers because he was out in Houston Thanksgiving Eve. Same thing, packed the Houston club out. That thing looked like Powerhouse and Summer Jam put together in the club. Not a mask in sight. Listen, if I were at these clubs, first of all, you wouldn't catch me dead at none of these clubs. You couldn't pay me enough money. But even if I was there, I would at least have a mask on. Like, what is happening? Because, okay, I don't know why, but Regine is 22 years old. She's still kind of like in my brain a kid, even though she's grown up. But Lil Baby, I don't know why. I feel like he should have been more responsible. And I don't know why. I mean, we should hold everyone accountable. Let me say that. But when I seen Regine do it, I'm like, all right, that's Regine. But when I seen Lil Baby, I was a little disappointed. Like, Lil Baby, I expect you to be a leader in this situation. You made the bigger picture. Like the bigger picture of Rona is let's not get sick. But it's almost like, should these artists be held accountable? Like, do we need to start really telling them like, yo, y'all need to conduct yourself in a different way when you're out here at these public events?
But who's going to tell them that? Because we have a president who feels the same way that these people feel. Like, I've said this before, that like white people, they go out here and they protest not wearing a mask. Like, remember over the summer when they were in the police officer's face, coughing on them and saying like, we shouldn't have to wear a mask and everything should be open. That's what they do. We're a different beast. We don't say anything. We just legit do what we want to do. And there is nothing we can do to hold these people accountable. Like literally nothing we can do, nothing we can say. Atlanta is going to do what Atlanta wants to do. And I know this is happening in other places too, but Atlanta's like, they're a different breed of it though. It's like there are people, like for instance, on the Real Housewives, there are two of the girls that were on the show who had coronavirus at some point or another. And they still be out in the streets. It's just like, I don't get it. It's like, but then again, there are other things that we know other diseases that were very prevalent in Atlanta, and they still don't wear condoms. So, I mean.
Dex, you gotta chill out. You gotta chill out.
Am I lying? That's true though.
You gotta chill out, girl.
Listen, I don't understand it. When I was watching the Jeezy and Gucci Man verses, I'm like, what are these Gucci Man songs? Everybody in Atlanta knew every Gucci Man song. I'm like, damn, I only know 5 songs. You're right. It's almost like a different world. Like you're right. They're different.
Now, what I will say about the little baby situation, reading the article, the owners of the club did say that they were actually below legal amount of occupancy.
Which is crazy.
That's what they said. That's what they said.
And the reason I brought this up is because it made the news in Houston, like rapper packs out the club, and people were saying who is responsible. Now, obviously, we talk about artists a lot, so I always feel like the artists should be held accountable. Especially, imagine if you go to a Lil Baby concert and you get sick and you die from going to see Lil Baby. Like, as an artist, that don't sit on your soul. Like, someone can die. Well, and because of the numbers, the probability is somebody will probably die just from someone that was in the club that night.
What's the odds, do you think, of I guess just him receiving the wrong information? And what if he just showed up that day and that's what happened?
He knows what's going on in the world.
No, not in the world, as far as just like how many people's going to be there, tickets sold, because at the end of the day,
he didn't have no mask on.
Right.
Yeah, he didn't have a mask on.
That's what I was gonna say. You show up and there's hella people. You're like, yo, wear y'all masks. If you want to be a leader and you want to be responsible, like I said, God forbid someone dies to go see Regina Carter turn 22 or Lil Baby perform The Bigger Picture. But like
Atlanta too.
But like,
they got cute masks, like especially for women that match your outfits. Like, wear a mask.
Right.
You still want to go out, at least do that. Like, I know with Zanique, I saw her,
and she's pregnant.
And her comeback was, oh well, I get tested every day for Family Hustle. But you're going to go to this party with all these people that don't have masks on. You don't know who has coronavirus. So yes, you may be getting tested. And let's say, okay, you still want to go to the party, but just wear a mask to protect yourself and your baby, because everybody else, anyone, I know a story of a person here that knew they had coronavirus, had people come to their house and did not tell them. And then the people got it. So you're going in a club trusting that these people are going to worry about you and your unborn child. And like you said, they might not just be bored and be like, oh, I know I'm kind of sick, but I still want to go to Reginae's party.
Well, that was the thing. Like, there was that. Like, who should be held responsible? Should it be the club owner? I mean, you. First of all, even if you're below capacity, you still allow these people to bum rush the stage. Why you ain't have things to set up? You ain't have, how they be having little VIP lines. Yeah, I ain't have no lines to separate people. Like, that's A. But then B, the whole thing of Reginae said the same thing. Well, we got tested afterwards. We have the medical field overloaded like crazy. So what? We think it's okay. It's like having unprotected sex or, and then getting pregnant and taking Plan B. Like, that's not what you're supposed to use Plan B for. You know what I'm saying? Just because there is a test doesn't mean we could be like, oh, let's act reckless and then go get the test. You're overloading the medical world. They're already overloaded, so now you want to go have fun and go take a test just because you think it's fun.
Yeah,
they should have probably just did that beforehand, right? Like, just you can only get in if you pass your COVID test.
Child, some people ain't even got insurance.
People get so defensive too, like the Zanique thing. Like, people are upset with you because you were in there pregnant, super pregnant in there, and people like, yo, like, you shouldn't have been there doing this and the third. And she's getting upset and screaming and yelling. Could you imagine if they were like, you got to have a COVID test before you come here? Reginae would have went off. They don't got to have no test before they come to my party. You just want to sabotage my party. Like, this COVID stuff is crazy, and it's shown that we literally live around the craziest people on the planet. We really do.
Yeah. And I think if it wasn't people dying, I think I would feel different. I would be like, oh, it's the flu. But there's people dying. Like, Jeremiah was on the bed almost about to die. Like, Fred the Godson has died. Like, there's another rapper, I forgot who it was, one of the old school rappers who needs a liver. Is it Scarface?
Scarface.
Yeah.
I see put out his father-in-law wasn't wearing a mask, didn't believe in COVID. Now he has it, was super sick, and now has to be on oxygen for the rest of his life.
Yeah, that Ice-T post was real shady too.
It was shady.
Definitely don't put that in there very much.
All right. So moving on, ASAP Rocky and Rihanna. These rumors have been floating around. They allegedly dealt with each other years ago. Apparently, they are creeping. They've been saying they're friends. You know, the best relationships start off as friendships.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just say that. So I love this. I've been waiting on them to date, but what are your thoughts on this?
So years ago, I went to a Rihanna concert, like 2013, I think it was. I went to a Rihanna concert at the Wells Fargo Center, and he was there with her. And the girl that I was with, she was just like, I think they go together. They definitely go together. And I was like, I don't know. Like, one of the lines he just said, the only thing bigger than my ego is my mirror. Like, I don't think I don't know. I don't see it. Now I'm like, but by the end of that concert, I'm like, I kind of see it. I could see those two like being together, whatever. And now that I'm hearing these rumors and stuff like this, 100% I believe it.
Yeah. I think, obviously I saw an interview that they did in COVID. Like it was like a FaceTime interview where it was like one of those GQ kind of things.
I watched that.
And they were talking. What that energy was.
Yes.
It was just the way she was like, oh, really? And he was like, yeah, that's fine. I'm like, oh, that is definitely we sleeping together. And obviously they've probably been friends. And through this industry, we all know it's crazy. And, how you date other people and they may have a lot of common bonds. I mean, I'm here for it. If they're happy, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I was looking at ASAP Rocky's body count because I'm like, oh, there's been a couple, right? So I knew about Tahiri and Chanel Iman, but there's a couple on here I was surprised with. Drake's baby mom, allegedly.
Apparently, she was everybody, so that's not surprising. Go ahead.
Kendall and Kylie Jenner. Yes.
Sisters.
Rita Ora allegedly and Iggy Azalea allegedly. So
now the Rita Ora one I've heard.
Yeah.
Around.
You ain't right. Well, so considering all these women, I'm not happy at the possibility of ASAP Rocky settling down. We have one of our guests joining us right now. We're gonna wait for Deanna to join us as well. But Helen, hey Helen, how are you, girl?
Hey, how are you, girl?
How you doing?
I can't complain. How are you in all this craziness?
Girl, you see us, we in the Zoom in the house.
Mm-hmm.
We were just talking about the craziness going down in Atlanta and Houston and how they down there partying like there's no corona out here.
Okay, there is no Rona in their world. There's no Rona in their world.
Right. Hello, Deanna. Deanna Williams is joining us. You guys look amazing. So we, in the last podcast, we're talking about the Grammys. And every year, it seems like someone's upset about the Grammys. I wanted to take this year to really just educate ourselves because I feel like it's a little different this year with some of the bigger artists coming forward and saying some things that are now becoming like mainstream media. So I'm welcoming to the podcast Miss Deanna Williams. She is the former president of the Grammy Philly chapter and current board member. She's also my mentor and friend. Welcome, Deanna.
Peace.
And also Helen Bruner. She is the co-chair of the Grammy Award and Nomination Committee. She is Grammy nominated. She's a singer, a songwriter, a producer. And I've also bowled with her, right? I believe we went both. Yes, girl. And you are a mean bowler, okay? Welcome, Helen.
Oh, glad to be here. Glad to be here, Mina.
So as you know, I'm Mina. This is the rest of the Mina's House Pod.
Hey, House Pod.
Garnett Briscoe, aka Sherlock Homeboy. Nice to meet you.
Sherlock Homeboy.
Dexter, aka Dexter One.
All right, Dexter.
We got a full house. So I really just want to take this time to really educate people on the process inside of the Grammys. A lot of the times, especially when these lists come out, we don't know what goes into creating the list, into who even gets nominated. All we see is, oh my God, my favorite artist or my favorite song or my favorite album is not where I think it should be. So can you just real quickly explain the process of submitting music for the Grammys? How does even an artist get considered for this?
Yes, well, if you are a member of the Recording Academy, you can submit product. You can be a fan of that person. Many times it's been a fan that has submitted an album where the artist just didn't feel like it would work. And a fan has done it because they are a member of the Academy. And also you could be a media company. A media company means that you are an independent production company, a major production company, major label, or management company. So they can submit a plethora of artists. That's $125 to do that. As a member, that's just one of the perks of being a member of the Recording Academy, that you get to submit the music. And that's the entry round process. So once that happens, you have over like the general field, which you see as album of the year, best new artist of the year, record of the year, and song of the year. It's over, this year we got over 22,000 entries just across the board. And that particular category, the general category that I just mentioned, we had over 1,200 people just in record of the year. So that has to be narrowed down to, in that field now, it's 8 per field. So you need me to go further, and I can take you to the next process. After it goes through the entry process, it goes out to all of the 12,000 voting members, and that's narrowed down to about 20 in all the different fields that have nominating committees. There's certain committees, there's certain categories, like say pop vocalist, best pop vocalist, that's just voted on by the membership body, the voting membership body. That's it. But then you have R&B, best R&B performance, best rap, also the general categories, record of the year and all that. That goes to a nominating committee of about 18 to 20 people who are experts in the particular fields of music. And then that's voted on because it goes by the amount of votes that the members give, the voting members give. So whoever comes in the top 20, that goes to the nominating committees, and then the nominating committees scale that down to the top 8 in the general fields, and top 5 in the other fields.
Child, that's long. How long does that process take?
It starts in July. So also, it's long.
In order to eligibility period,
your record.
That
go ahead. I'm sorry, Dee. Go ahead. What'd you say?
Release. I'm sorry, Helen. The release has to have come out in a certain time frame in order to be eligible, and that is a common practice of most awards that are, in this case, peer awards. I think it's important for us to stress the people who are voting members that Helen referred to, are members of the Recording Academy. That is the parent company that produces the Grammys. We're best known for the Grammys, but we also have Music Cares, which is a philanthropic arm of the Recording Academy. So there's several arms. We have the Latin Recording Academy, but it's people who work. Yes, Mina, you could be in you can be in both. You could be in the.
Oh, I don't know nothing about no Latin music. Don't put me on that committee.
Shame on you.
Right.
But anyway, so as you hear, it is a very involved and intricate process that goes on for many, many months. But anyone can submit their music. They don't have to be a member of the Recording Academy to have their music considered, given that it fits the eligibility requirements, all of the requirements for submission. And as Helen mentioned, in the first round, a fee of $125. So 21,000 entries, that's what we got this year, Helen?
A little over 22. We thought it would be lower because of COVID, but it actually came in about a couple thousand higher than last year and previous years.
People had time.
Right.
Yes.
There you go. So there is a process that Some people have accused of being secretive, that it weighs heavy in the favor of some and not the others.
Mm-hmm.
They're very conscious of the criticisms. And Helen is one of the highest ranking African American women in the Recording Academy.
Go, Helen!
Yes.
Philly in the building.
And Philly in the building. She is a past president of the Philly Grammy chapter. And she is also, she's been in the hierarchy. She was a member of the executive committee, which does hirings and contracts. And she's privy to the internal workings economically, politically, everything. So I give Helen tremendous kudos because she recruited me along with
Thank
Terry
you,
Jones.
Dee. Thank you, Deanna.
Over 22 years ago. And as you mentioned in your introduction, Mina and fam, she is a Grammy nominated producer, songwriter, artist. She's a powerful force in the music industry. And no one more than Helen Bruner wants there to be equity,
Yeah.
versus
Oh, yeah.
transparency, to the best of the ability of the Recording Academy. So I will tell you, because I have known her for decades, I've worked closely with her. She recruited me. At first, I was like, I don't want to be involved with those people.
Yeah.
They don't treat black folks right.
Yeah.
All of the criticisms that you heard, I had at one time levied. But I will tell you now, being on the inside of this process as a voter, because I have enough credits to be a voting member of the Recording Academy. It's not, it's not, oh, we're just, this year, we are not going to acknowledge so-and-so.
Right.
Even though they had a billion streams, it's not altogether a popularity contest. It's peers, it's people who work full-time in the music industry voting for other people in the music business. It's a peer award. So it's not the executives who are staff members at the Grammys, at the Recording Academy. They're not doing the voting. It's people like Helen, who has her own label, her own production company, who is an independent recording artist. It's people like her. It's people like me. I saw somebody told me that, Helen, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but I will share this with our audience, that I blocked so-and-so from getting a Grammy. Like,
no,
whoa,
that could never happen.
Powerful person.
All right, just me by myself. I did that.
Right, you amazing if you did.
Look, had I known that, I would have voted myself a Grammy.
There you go.
I had it like that.
Absolutely. I mean, look, being a part of the leadership, elected leaders for over 20. I was a millennial when I started in this thing because I really wanted our music, R&B, hip hop, jazz, gospel. I wanted that to be in the forefront, and I saw where it was taking a back seat. But if anybody had the power, I would have a Grammy every year. And I mean, I was Grammy nominated, but I didn't win. You know what I mean? So that is, it really is transparency, as Deanna said. It is a process that happens.
I wanted to ask, you talked about the process of the voting. So what is the process for someone or a peer artist to become a member, an actual member, to become a part of that process?
Great question.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's a great question. Yes. In order to become a member now, you have to be invited or find someone that is a member of the music industry, that really is a member of the music industry, or someone who is a member of the academy, and they can recommend you. You have to have 6 commercially released products in the same category. Let's just say if you're a vocalist. So you would have to have 6 commercially released physically, or 12 released digitally. So if you have something that's on iTunes and it's 12 singles, or if it's an album, which really doesn't exist as much anymore, but it's an album of 12 songs that are all digital, you can be selected to become a voting member, and also you have to have career substantiation. So it can't be like you working at Ups and you kind of move the vocalist or whatever, and your page is talking about, yo, my co-worker is doing this and doing that, and really thinking then, oh yeah, and on this weekend I may do an open mic.
Right.
Really
You have
have
to be a proven music industry. So there is a criteria. And
yes.
we invite everyone to go to Grammy, that's GRAMMY.com, to get more information about the requirements for membership. It's the
Yes.
process has gotten a lot more.
Harder.
We had a lot of people who were just music lovers trying to become members, and this is an organization of music industry professionals.
Yeah.
So with people
Yes.
who are writing songs, engineers, producers, composers, narrators, because we have a category for children,
Liner.
for children's
Liner note writers.
liner notes. You could be a writer and have done one of my credits, how I got to be a voting member. I wrote several liner notes for major releases.
Oh, nice.
And those became part of my credits. And I also had credits from introducing artists. I was on a record introducing Curtis Mayfield, Kool and the Gang. I was emceeing a Congressional Black Caucus concert, and I got a credit on the album. It became one of my qualifying credits to submit me. First, I started as an associate artist, associate member, and then as time progressed and I got more credits, then I was on a Will Downing album, talking throughout the album. I needed 6 more credits. I got it from that album, and it put me over the top to meet all of the criteria to become a voting member of the Recording Academy. So anyway, it's a long,
No, that was perfect.
I love how you put that. I love that you casually just threw that out there. Like, that is amazing. Like, both of you guys, even when you first got on, I felt like it was like really good energy right away. And like, I feel so much more informed too. Like, and it's really simple too. Like, you guys, it's not like you did any rocket science. I think it's science. I genuinely think that if people want to know this, like, ask someone or do the research. And I don't think we do that. So kudos to you, Mina, for booking the guest, because last week, I don't want you guys to listen to this episode, but last week we were on here and we were like, this doesn't make any sense, this, that, and there, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, guys, just take a step back and just like look at what's actually happening. Because right off the bat, when you guys were like, there are so many submissions. So your favorite artists, they were probably submitted for it, but there's so many other pieces of music that came out this year.
And let me tell you, when I voted before the end of the deadline. It took me about 2 hours to vote.
Oh yeah.
Because you get to vote in a certain number of categories. What is it, Helen? Is it 12? I forget.
Yes, right now it's 15.
Oh, it's 15. Okay, 15 categories that you choose as a voting member. And we also have it set up now where you can just, if you haven't heard the song or you're not familiar and you don't remember, you can click a button and you can hear the music in its entirety. And that is something new that the Recording Academy put into play recently. But 2 devoted hours of my life voting on people that many of whom some who I work with. I'm an artist development and media coach, and I work with all the record companies, and I work with a plethora of artists in all genres, not just Black music.
Right.
So oftentimes I'm voting for my clients, people whose music and careers I'm intimately familiar with. And other times I am voting on the best lyrics, melody, production, all of those values that to me are important when we talk about the perpetuation of quality music. Yes. I will also tell you all, and Mina knows this, I work with a lot of young artists who are coming off of a TikTok success. Right. Record deals. I will tell you, some of these young people, I have great regard for their talent, but they don't know what happened before them, and they don't know what's coming up. They just know about TikTok. Right. And that to me is the kind of artist, for instance, Helen Bruner is. Helen she can write the song, she can go in the studio and produce the song, And then she can sing the song, and then she can go on a stage and perform the song.
Right.
Those days are
Deanna,
like,
you're the best. You're the best. She's the
best. You can do it from beginning to, and to Helen's point, imagine she's part of the leadership of the Recording Academy. She didn't win a Grammy. She got nominated for one.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay, but that doesn't mean that she's going to stop. And I do want to mention, and I will listen, I do want to go back and hear the show last week. We can stand criticism. We can take a comment, but we are also grown women, very conscious women, I might add. And we wouldn't be involved with some bullshit.
No.
Okay?
Let me say this though, Helen. So part of the conversation from last week was is the Grammys out of touch, right? So I wanted to talk about how you actually become a voting member, because you broke down who they are and how many they are, but has the Grammys taken into account some of the new ways that people become artists? For example, SoundCloud rappers or TikTok stars, you know, because that would be that portion of the younger demo that maybe feel like they're not being represented in these award shows. Do you guys can I have 6 SoundCloud songs and apply or consider myself to be able to be on the Grammy board?
Yeah, I mean, that's what happened with Chance the Rapper. We changed the rules because originally
because of Chance.
You couldn't do it. So Chance was the first rapper or first artist just straight across the board that was nominated and won off of just straight ahead SoundCloud streaming. That was it.
And so we do take sound.
Now I will tell you this. You do have to have a ICRC code or a barcode, because it has to be released in some sort of fashion. And, you know, SoundCloud, they put that in their process. So it used to be come one, come all. If you have a commercially released music, 6 commercially released physical, and 12, as I said earlier, digital, come on and join the Grammys. But what was happening, we were getting a lot of people who their parents years ago told them, no, I'm not going to pay for you to go out here to college to be some songwriter or a musician. You're going to be a doctor, a lawyer. And with the onset of CD Baby, anybody could put together a record and release it. So if you had a release, you could join the Grammys. And what happened was we had all these people who would vote they were really fans of music or they were hobbyists. So we eliminated that now with where you have to go to a peer review committee. So after you submit with what I explained to you earlier with your credits, your career substantiation, then it goes to a peer review of elected leaders who go over your career, what you've done, and then they decide whether or not you are invited to become a voting member of the Recording Academy. Because what we really want, we want qualified people. We want a diversity and inclusion. We want parity across the board with age. The demo seems to lean to 50-plus-year-old white males. So we've been trying to eliminate that. And what's happening is we're getting like Doja Cat being nominated. There was a time where she would have never seen the light of day. Never seen a light of day. So or also with her being nominated for Song of the Year, you know what I mean? But I Can't Breathe. So that would have never seen the time of day. But then you also have your legendary like a Coldplay and things like that. So if you are really true to the game and true to your artistry, you can become a member of the Recording Academy. We want the millennials, we want the youth, because the older people are more focused and in on what it is that they want to do to come in, and they understand the process, where young people just want it now. And it's not a now thing, because your career is not a now. Even a TikTok artist is still going to take time to put it out, market, produce it, and then get around to the Grammy.
I just want to start this off. I know I gave Mina and Shayna their flowers earlier about bringing it today, but y'all edges are laid. The lighting is great. Y'all skin is just, it's just radiating. Y'all looking real good today. I just wanted to say that.
Oh, you are awesome.
Y'all came
Thank you.
with it tonight. Just looking at the Grammy nominations and everything, I don't know if this is a new thing. It's new to me, but I did see. It seems like you guys were changing up the categories a little bit to at least attempt to get it right.
Yeah.
And one that I liked and I thought it was, dead on was melodic performance.
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like that subcategory can honestly put things in perspective. So
Yes.
I know that you spoke on it earlier, saying that it's 15. If we could just anything to get it right. So I just wanted to say, is there any more that's going to change like that to try to narrow it down a little bit to have it make sense? Because I know hip hop and rap is such a wide genre now as far as melodic, like you said, and just hip hop in general. So I just want to know if is there a plan to try to get that?
Absolutely. You know what happens? What we do is we listen to the will of the music community. And it was like, the leaders and the up and coming leaders of hip hop that called and was like, yo, the managers, we're dealing consistently with everyone from Drake to Lil Baby. Like, they're all calling. They're saying, like, yo, what are you doing? And like, you have to change this. Now, I'll give you this. For instance, in order to change a particular category's definition, you know what I mean? And to change the whole definition of it and what the title is, has to go through a process. It has to come to my committee, the awards and nominations. Somebody has to write a proposal, and then that proposal has to be voted upon. It's hashed out for hours. We have 3 days of meetings, 8 hours a day. And then that proposal, once voted on, yes, goes to the trustees. And then the trustees have to ratify that proposal, and they ask all the pertinent questions again. So it's a lot, it's a procedure, but we're trying to move quicker. Yeah. So if the community says, if the rap community says, yo, we don't like this, we want to try to change this, then what we do is we put it in the incubator. We tell them, I told Eighth Wonder, I was like, yo, you got to write the proposal. You write the proposal, bring it to me, I'll help you. And if it's cool, then guess what? We're going to change it. I will fight for you in the room, and Deanna can vouch for that. I will fight for what I know is right by people in the music that we put out in the streets.
And we invite full-time music industry people who have an interest in changing, because to Helen's point earlier, the Recording Academy, the Grammys, was aging, and it was old white men. And that just was not reflective of the reality of what was going on globally, which was Black music. Hip hop wasn't getting its righteous due because we had a group of people who, quite frankly, didn't get it. They just were out of step. And all due respect to my elders, because I'm an elder now too, and it's all good and I love it. But they were out of step with the reality of what was going on, not just here in America, but around the globe. Mm-hmm. So we are very mindful now. We have internally criticized some of the practices that are going on, and we're working on fixing it, because ain't nobody up in this piece perfect. I know I'm not, I'm perfectly flawed. And so is the Recording Academy, but we're mindful and we're working on it. We've had several public scandals, or whatever you want to call them, and we're confronting them. We're dealing with them, head on. So Dex, you said, don't listen to last week, and you gave me a little taste of what happened. I can only imagine, but I want to address the criticism as well. For instance, The Weeknd, great artist, talented performer, and I might add, ladies and gentlemen, a 3-time Grammy Award winning artist. Not one, not two, but he has 3 Grammys. You never heard him complain about the process until this project that apparently his peers, not the public, not the people who are streaming the music, because he has a ton of streams, that is irrefutable. But on the judgment of the people making the decisions, it did not meet all of the criteria. Am I saying it correctly, Helen? Because I don't want to convolute.
Yes, what happens is, let me just give you a little inside thing with the process. What happens when you have 20 records and you play them back to back, and they're going up against each other, and you hear the sonics of the record. For people who don't understand what sonics means, it's the sound of the record, the production, how the vocalist delivers the lyric, what the lyric is comprised of, the meaning of it, and you put all of that together, because you got to remember, the Grammy is excellence. It's not commercialism. Now, many of our great artists like The Weeknd and Lady Gaga and, Beyonce, they are great artists, and they write and they produce masterpieces. But sometimes it may be an independent artist that may not have the $1 million budget, but the peers know about this music, and they say, look, this thing is banging. You know what I mean? It's like bop, it's bop all day. And they vote for it. And we listen to it, and you put that up against another record, and this person's record is killing that other record.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the people who have the $1 million budgets, all these streams, and we love that record, but when you play that record next to those other records, it just doesn't hold up.
It's interesting that you say that. Excellence, not commercialism.
Mm-hmm.
Because that explains why you have Ant Clemens getting nominated for Best R&B, or Nas, Jay Electronica, D Smoke getting nominated for Best Rap Album, because sonically, I think they're doing things differently than what the commercial artists are doing. And that really just sparks, is there like a specific criteria? Like, is it vocal production? Is that...
I'll be very transparent. If we're dealing with, I'll tell you this, record of the year. Record of the year deals with the production. Not so much, the song has to be a great song, I understand that. But you're dealing with the instrumentation, the vocal performance, sonically, how it's mixed, mastered. It's all about the record. And that record is like, oh my gosh, it's a great record. Now you have another record that is now you have Song of the Year. It's not so much a production as it is about the delivery of the lyric and the melody and how it tells a story, be it if it's 120 beats per minute or only 102 beats per minute. It's a ballad or up tempo. But that thing, the lyric, and we call it the pen of the songwriter, because that Grammy doesn't go to the artist unless the artist is one of the songwriters. It goes to the songwriter. So if you just take that, what we do, we listen to that record and we say, can you sit down on a piano or a guitar and just play that record and sing it? And it'll still have the same emotion without all of the bells and whistles. That's your Song of the Year.
I love how you put that. Like, I love the
poetry. Drop the mic. Drop it.
No, does everyone have the same criteria, or is it like I'm in my house, I'm doing what I got to do. You're like
no,
how does that work?
We all come together. It's the reason why we don't say who's in the room is because if we did, do you know the gifts that will come? Do you know?
Or I'll pull up. I'll pull up. Oh, you ain't vote for me? I'm pulling up. Where my friends at?
I'll tell you this: if you are in the category, you cannot participate. You have to recuse yourself. So let's say it's a major art, and I'm gonna tell you this: it's not just people. I had deals years ago. I was signed years ago to Virgin Records. I became an independent artist, and that's where I got a lot of things. But I'm sitting there also with, if I told you some of the people who are superstars that are in there with me, that is listening and voting. It's not just elected leaders, major producers who are on the charts. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is huge.
You know, Dex, it's people
young people who have written some of the records that y'all banging to, that is bopping all. And I wish that I could disclose it.
No, you're good. You're good. I believe
22 who got chart action for days. And then you got your 60-year-old who is a legend. You know what I'm saying? That you know, and they understand all the mechanics of a perfect vocal performance. So you got everybody who knows how to listen from a auto tune and understand the tricks of auto-tune where it is prolific, and then you got somebody who understands just flat foot singing or playing in that room voting on what is going to be the next Grammy nominees.
That's crazy. Wow.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. One question that I just had on the categories, and you kind of answered it, because in last week's show we talked about Kanye, and I can't remember the specific category, but it was like Christian, contemporary, whatever the title was. And I said, "Oh, is he upset because he's not in gospel?" So just and you kind of explained this. Is that how it was submitted? Was it submitted under that category, or did the Grammy board put it under that category?
Sometimes I wasn't in that particular room. I didn't do that room, but I give you a little history. I wrote the proposal for best gospel performance. There was none back in the early 2000s.
Yes, Helen. Okay.
So
categories.
Franklin and Donnie McClurkin, Yolanda Adams, they weren't getting Grammys. It was going to Record of the Year, which would never work. But what happened when it said gospel performance, the Christian folks, the white folks from Christian got a little upset because only Black gospel artists were winning. So Shirley Caesars, Kirk Franklin. So they came up with this Christian side of it as well. So now it's gospel and it's Christian. Now, Kanye, I don't know, because I wasn't in the room, if he submitted his record in best gospel or best Christian. They're all in the same room reviewing the records in the screening committees. That's what's called the screening committees. They could have taken that record out of gospel and put it in Christian because it had more of a, depending on the way the music, how the music and the chord structures, because with gospel music, there's certain chord structures that tell you that's gospel. Then in Christian, it's a little bit more contemporary chords that doesn't come from a real soulful place.
Yeah.
So maybe why he's best Christian.
Oh, because a lot of the times Christian music sounds like pop music. If you really listen.
Yeah, that's true, Mina. That's very true. And I think, Helen, we should also mention that when you mentioned the screening committees, there are various screening committees for the different categories. The people who are in that room, the screening people, they are experts in that particular genre. So there's a classical screening, there's a country, there's a gospel, there's a R&B, there's a hip hop, and these are all people who are certifiable, working in those genres. So they know the artist. And as Helen said, and often in cases, artists are in these screening rooms. Artists, songwriters, producers, engineers.
If you walk into the room, you'll be in awe.
Yeah, you'd be like, whoa, and you'd be like seeing some of your favorite artists.
Listen, and they bring it. And when it's good, it's good. And when it's not, it's not. And there's many artists that were upset, say a Justin Bieber upset because he was removed from R&B and put into pop. But the experts in R&B said that is not.
Thank you.
The record.
I'm not an expert, and I said
with some R&B influences.
You better not take Janae's award.
Exactly, Mina. So again, it is not there is some secrecy to the process, as Helen explained. The reason why, if I told you, I'm on the R&B committee, all of a sudden I would be inundated, followed. Who knows? So I served on a committee that's, I can't now mention it, but a major committee, Grammy committee. And I told some people that I was on this committee because I was excited and proud. And then somebody pulled my coattail and said, you're not supposed to disclose that you are on this committee because you can be solicited, bombarded, all manner of reasons. And I was like, oh, oops.
They was gonna send you a PS5, Deanna.
Oh, hey.
So how does it work with the big categories that will mix the genres together? So like with like album of the year or record of the year, where it's
Great question.
How does that work?
Yeah, who are those?
It's the same process. I mean, it's the same thing. Every category doesn't have a nominating review committee. like your pop vocals, they don't have it, but everybody else pretty much, or world music, they don't have it. But R&B and the hip hop and country, rock, rap, they all have the nominating review committees. So in that particular committee is called the National Nominating Review Committee, that handles all the songs and the albums that come from different genres to make up record of the year, album of the year. And what it is it's about 18 to 20 people from each of the genres. So you have almost from two. So you have a couple of people from R&B, a couple of people from pop, country, jazz, and who knows, it could be a classical and also hip hop. And at the end of the day, a good song is a good song, a good vocal is a good vocal. And I don't mean that you have to be like the greatest in the world, but if you sell it, it's all good. And we sit there and we listen to it. So you may have a Coldplay going up against a Janae, and it's like her record is standing right there. So when you listen to it, it's a great record and it deserves to be album of the year, nomination for album of the year. But so to your point, we have everybody from all the different genres who can listen, but we all have a commonality, and that is that we're all music lovers and we're peers and we respect the artists and what they're giving.
That's so beautiful, actually. Like you made something that sounds, both of you guys, something that's so complicated to the rest of us out here. You guys simplified it so much. Like, not that I was complaining before, but like the next time I hear somebody complain, I'm going to sit them down and I'm going to have a quick conversation with them, because y'all don't even know. Like, honestly, we don't even know what we complain about. We literally just hear that our favorite artist is not nominated, and we're like, we love this song, but like we're not sitting. I don't know much about music. Like I don't know the beats and all that kind of. I just know what I like. But it's like you're not even giving this other music a shot. Like you've never listened to it. These people are actually sitting there, they're listening to this music, they studied it. Like, let the experts do their job.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. It's true. I mean, we put a lot of 3 days of listening. I mean, we
2 hours of voting.
And we go sometime
we're going to discussion,
each other. I mean, if I tell you some of the people who I've said, I don't care, look, listen to this again.
Listen here, Drake. Sit down. Sit down, Drake.
Yes, exactly. So, you have some of the greatest in the business. And I'll tell you this, though. I will give you a little tidbit. There's been people who've never been nominated, never won a Grammy, who are excellent artists. And they've come in and they've done the room. And when they leave, they say, I understand, I got to bring up my game. Wow. Because even though my records are good to my fans, it's not the best. And I gotta take my game up. And the next year, guess what? They were nominated.
Wow.
That's what I wanted to say. It really seems like, just like how the Grammys is formatted, and by just the description that you guys give of each category, it's really just like a music head like world, in a sense, like that the casual fan isn't going to understand the terminology that's being used in the description. So they're always going to think it's wrong because they don't know what the heck is going on in the sense, right? But I also think too that, artists, I feel like, they just create. And a lot of times they don't know what they're creating. They're just creating their best work. So they may not know exactly what they fall into either until it gets down to that point.
That is true. You make a great point, because a lot of people will get pissed off because they submit a blues record to R&B and swear it's like R&B. Right. And it's a straight out don't do baby. You know what I mean? It's like
right.
Because in their mind they really want it to be that. Mm-hmm. They really do. And everybody in their family told them that it was. And it's just not. And when you have experts, 20 people saying, I'm sorry, it's got to go.
Yeah.
Then you have some artists who are slick, who will submit something in a category and they know that's not what it is, but they know that it's a small category and it'll get a nomination. So we got to work things out as well.
Slick.
That is really crafty.
And that's why we I'll tell you this, when Jimmy Jam was the chair, and he had me on his executive committee as well. And he said, look, we need to create an R&B screening committee because we can't have Michael McDonald consistently coming in there and no Mary And at that time, Whitney was still living, and Maxwell and Jill and Erica and all of them, they were being just obliviated because it was old
Michael
men.
sound black. That's why.
Right. Heard that Patti LaBelle song.
Couldn't get in. So we came up and we wrote the proposal to make the R&B screening committee so we could keep those things from happening. Because you had one, white person that did, oh, and they're like, oh, this is R&B. You know what I mean? So we had to cut. Yeah. We had to.
Is that why there's 3 R&B categories? It's literally. I remember where it was one category. Now it's progressive R&B, best R&B, traditional R&B. Is that why it's broken down like that now?
Well, because our music is ever evolving. That's the one thing I can say about R&B music community. It's always evolving. So really, traditional R&B used to be the old people's category. And then it became like the singers category. Like anybody who really was blowing, they got into that. And now like the neo soul is considered traditional and R&B. So the progressive stuff is more like your Summer Walker, Lucky Day, all of that stuff. So we tried to make it so if Lucky's in there and Lettucey's there, Lettucey has a home and so does Lucky.
Right.
Yeah, because Lucky needs his Grammy. Okay.
Yeah. He was nominated 4 times last year, but
that's my boo. So you need to get one.
Whole team. I love his whole team. I let him
in my head.
In your head. Oh, I got you. I worked with Lucky Day.
Lucky is awesome. At the Clive Davis party last year, they put him all the way in the back. And I'm saying this young man has 4 Grammys. Why is he all the way in the back in the press section that they put all the press? And I said, wait a minute now. I said, that's because it's a free event that you just invited to. Deanna knows this. And I moved him up to our table, and him and D Mill, who does a lot of the production for him, those kids were so elated when they were sitting there. And then Anthony Hamilton came over to the table, and then there was Kim, and then there was all these people, and everybody came over. It was like a part, and then Puffy and Jay and B, and everybody was there, and it just made his night. He couldn't believe he was there.
He's so talented. He's my boo in my head, like Skip Marley. Him and Skip. Right in here.
I worked with him too. I worked with then you might need to come with me to work.
Hello, I will come every day, D.
These are my clients.
Yeah.
That's why y'all show up to work glowing. That's why.
I do have a question for you guys.
The trustee board, who's a trustee from Houston? Yolanda Adams. From LA, John Legend. Jonathan McReynolds out in Chicago.
Another of my clients.
Terry Lynn Carrington. These are people who are helping to make these decisions. So there's no joke. This is like...
These are bona fide, talented individuals who know music. They know quality music. And like Helen said, we have a computer, most of us. You have GarageBand on it or some kind of program that allows you to make beats or do something. Auto-tune, real big sound in music these days. Me personally, I want an artist who can sing me the record just like the record in person.
Yes.
I don't want to hear.
Well, D.
I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear effects. I want to hear unadulterated soul.
Some of them can't do that, D.
That's why they don't get nominated.
My point exactly. So back to Helen's point earlier about a criteria of excellence and a judgment based on people who are knowledgeable, who know this music, who are living this music. The people in that room who are making decisions, they know. There are people that know. And guess what? If you're listening now and you fit the criteria, go to Grammy.com and you wish to be a member, you need to get another member who is a current member to vouch for you, to help bring you into the organization. Because like Helen said, now the people who are in here, the next crew of people, these are serious music industry professionals in some level, some aspect of the business. You know, we want it to be fair. We want it to be, you know, the question Mina and I were talking earlier today about diversity. And I know this is not quite on the topic of the award process, but I think we've kind of given you a good overview of that process. But you know, diversity, like I said, at one point it was aging, it was white folks, and it doesn't look like that now. Our current interim president, Harvey Mason Jr., is a Black man. We have a diversity, a DNI person. I'm sorry, tell me the sister's name because she's new, Helen.
Yes, Felisa Butterfly Jones.
Yes, thank you. So there, you know, the staff is becoming more diversified because we are cognizant that we live in, it ain't just a white world. And while people of color may be a certain percentage of the population, we are ever growing. And that doesn't mean that we wish to just, you know, get rid of other white folks who've been in control. No, we want parity. We want a seat at the table. And we want to do this together because it's our global human culture. The last I checked, I'm a real black music advocate. Black music is at the top of all the charts around the world, except for maybe with BTS, Korea.
Yeah.
Okay. They can keep them.
They're so good though. I love them. I have a question for you guys though. What's your favorite part after you voted for 2 hours and all that stuff is done and it's done. It's Grammy night and normal Grammy night, not 2020 Grammy night. What's your favorite part of that situation?
Oh, going to the Grammys?
Yeah.
Oh, lovely question. Helen, I'll let you go first.
Well, you know, it's Grammy week. So we
yes.
land, baby. And it is party. I mean, it's like the other. But I would say after the actual Grammy Awards, I really love the premiere ceremonies. For me, when I see the little person who, you know, runs up and gets their Grammy, that is just amazing. And then for the main show, when I know that I played a part in helping to change somebody's life because your tax bracket goes up exponentially when you win a Grammy. Or when you become Grammy nominated, it does change your bookings, which you can demand. So knowing that I helped to change someone's life for me and see them get up there and thank the Academy or whatever, I know I'm a part of that process. And that to me is just an awesome, awesome feeling.
Yeah, to Helen's point, it is a week. And for me, it's great. I love the nominations process, but I love to hear, like recently last week, we announced who the nominees were. And for me, I do artist development and media coaching. And so first thing I'm looking for are the people that I voted for who are my clients. Because then what I'm doing is I'm calling them, I'm texting them, I'm emailing them and congratulating them also on my social media, praising them because of the great music and the reward that they have received from their peer group. So that's where it starts for me. But Grammy Week is always wonderful. It's an opportunity to congregate, to net weave. I call it net weave instead of networking, but to power net weave with like-minded people who are creatives, brilliantly talented. There's a community, there's a vibe and a warmth in our music industry community. So you get a chance to see your people from Texas or your people from LA or New York or, you know, and I've met tons of people, great folks who are creating music. And to Helen's point, to see, because we have things that are not televised, you know, we've got, it's a limited time for the actual telecast, but we have award presentations in the scientific ceremony. What is that called again, Helen?
The premiere, it's streamed on Grammy.com, but it's not on national television.
Right. So I love going to those events for the same reason that Helen cited, because you get to see people who, you know, were grinding, spent all their money, putting in the work, and of a certain level that is being recognized by their peers. So it's fun. It's fun to get dressed up. We have the best parties.
Food.
The best food, party. What? And it's just the satisfaction of seeing people win and achieve their dreams. You know, I told you I do artist development and media coaching,
Mm.
and almost every artist that I work with, from Rihanna to Justin Bieber and others, all cite their desire to win a Grammy. Because it is a recognition from people who do what you do as well. And that appears to be, and the Grammy Award, like the Oscar, like the Tony, like the Emmy, those are awards that are celebrating excellence. And so who doesn't want that? So salute to the nominees, to the people who submitted. I know people who have submitted time and time again, and like Helen said, eventually get noticed for their diligence and their talent.
Nas.
Yes.
Can Nas get a Grammy this year, Helen?
You know what? Let's listen. He deserves it.
He definitely does.
You know what I mean? Now, what happens? I don't know. But the beauty is that you can listen to those 5. It's better than having to try to listen to like 1,000. You know what I mean? Like it's impossible. You kind of go through it and skip around. But he has a great chance, and he's so well respected. So well respected. So what we need, that's why we need qualified voting members, because we don't want somebody who's got this 16-year-old in the back and they say, yo, who's the hottest rapper right now? Oh, Lil Baby. You know what I mean? You know, we don't want that to happen to Nas, because he really needs to be listened to. And if they feel that he is the best, if the voting members feel he is the best, then he deserves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think there needs to be more like separation in the hip hop and rap category for that exact reason. Because when you talk about even who's nominated for rap album, it's very different from best rap song and best rap performance. And now right. So it needs to be kind of broken down just a little bit more, so that, you know, maybe a best rap contemporary or something, because it was a little weird to see like all the songs that we hear on the radio in the best rap song category, but then when you go over to best rap album, it's all these albums of people that we may not hear on the day to day.
Yeah, because that's what happens when they listen to the whole body of work. And that's another thing. Let's just go back to Nas. You know, and there's a side of us that wants Nas to get it because it's Nas. But it's Nas's work. We never think of you or listen to you on your body of work. We listen to the work that you submitted this year. So with Nas,
you don't want me on that committee. I would have been like, Nas needs a Grammy. Nas.
That's where they're like, get Mina out the room.
We can't do that. We have to say, is this Nas's best work for this year up against those 4 other people? You know what I'm saying? Those 4 other products. If it is, and when you listen to his work against all the others, if it is the best, he's going to get that Grammy. Guaranteed, it's his. But if it's more nostalgic, he's not going to get it. If that's why he's got the nomination. So if there were people in the room that felt more like you, Mina, who gave it to him because it's Nas, he won't get the Grammy. Guaranteed. Because he's got to go through 12,000 people, not just those 20 in that
20.
room.
Right.
So we have 12 chapters. There are 12 chapters of the recording academy around the country. New York, Atlanta, Philadelphia, Chicago. So we're spread out all over the Northwest, up in
Seattle, Memphis,
Seattle, Washington
San Francisco.
State. So we have over 12,000 members who are voting for these various categories when it gets down to the nominations. So it's exciting.
It is
coming up. It'll be interesting.
We'll see what happens.
We are grateful to you.
Yeah, thank you.
All of you. Dexter, we're very grateful to you for, you know, it's important to get the information out, because what happens is you just hear the negatives. You hear the negatives and the criticisms. You don't hear from people like myself and Helen. And, you know, when I asked Helen, Mina invited us, I was like, Helen, we have an opportunity to reach an audience that needs to hear, because your audience are young people, and we need and want you to be a part of the Recording Academy. We're going to, At some point, we're gonna raise up out of here. So we need the next generation. We want young people to come and be part of the process and make decisions about our music.
And I wanted people to understand how do we get to this place, you know, and to understand what we're looking at. You know, and that's really what I wanted to do, because I'm pretty sure nobody's going in there saying we don't want the Weeknd to get no nominations. You know, like no one's going in there with that intention. It's more so this is just how the things stacked up.
It's how it works. It's a weighted vote. So I could have voted for the Weeknd, but somebody else may have voted for him too, and maybe they put him at number 5. Okay, and then say somebody else put him at number 7. And then you have the others that they put at number 1, number 2, number 3. So what happens is at the end of the day, his numbers may not have added up as strong as the others. Not that they didn't vote for him, but it's a weighted vote. So your number 1 is going to get more votes than your number 8.
Right.
So he just didn't get as many votes or at a higher number is a possibility than someone else, some of the other nominees.
Yeah.
So that's how that works, where he absolutely, you know what I mean? He's there, but did he get those votes that he needed to get the nomination? It could have been one off. It could have just been one. You don't know. It's a numbers game. You know what I mean? But his artistry is well respected, and I mean,
and he's a 3-time Grammy Award winner. And Dexter, you never heard him complain about the Grammys
never
last week.
No.
So you know, and again, major artists, to Mina's introduction, many from Jay-Z to you name them, they've complained. Meanwhile, Jay-Z's wife has more nominations this year than any other female artist. It's racking them up as time progresses. She's being rewarded for great music, great visuals, you know, because we also have a category for videos.
Yes.
The video director and become a voting member of the Recording Academy. So there is a category you could do. Real talk, let me tell you, when I was doing my voting recently, I was like, I need to write a children's book. We have a section for audio. Michelle Obama won a Grammy last year.
Yes, she did.
Narration of her book, Becoming. She's a Grammy winner. So the real talk, I saw that children. I was like, I'm talented. I can write. I got a grandchild. I gotta go for my Grammy, Mina.
You better get it.
Okay, so Helen's not the only one can be Grammy nominated.
Listen,
those publishing houses, they go in hard now. Advertising and Billboard and Variety and all of that stuff. They don't take this thing lightly. And you know, for the kids that are out there, really, really hone your craft, meaning study and learn. And when you listen to your record that you made in your, you know, at home, in your room, or at your boy or your girl's house, play it right up against the hottest record on the charts. And if your record doesn't sound like that, then you know you got to go back into the lab and start again. Because you want to reach that. And if you can get that close in your room, imagine what you could do if you got a budget behind you.
Right. D, you better get your Grammy. You can charge 3 times what you charging now. Listen.
Real talk. That's real talk. Yes, Mina. I need that. I need to pick her.
Real quickly, it's been really interesting to see how the different award shows have handled the pandemic, from the AMAs to the BET Awards to the Soul Train Awards recently, the BET Hip Hop Awards. How is the Grammys going to handle it this year? Are you doing kind of like what the AMAs did, where it's all over the place? Are you going to have like socially distant viewers like the Soul Train Awards? Have you guys talked about that yet?
It's top secret.
Tells you that's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
the Grammys, right? That's just that set the bar. So let's see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Can't share those secrets now.
It's January 31st, right?
Correct. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I did my homework, Helen.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna beat you in bowling.
we all can do that. And your co-hosts are awesome. You guys, you asked great questions. You really got it. And I thank you so much for inviting me and, to come. And Deanna, it's really wonderful to talk about this.
Yeah. Do you guys have any other questions? Anything else, guys?
I just want to say you guys were really amazing. Like, and I really mean that. Like, I'm really floored by like this information right now. I am, because like I like being ignorant. Like, I like not knowing something, and then literally somebody just pouring this information into my head. Like, I'm really an expert now, so I can.
Well, relax, Dex.
Okay.
I can explain how the process works.
Reel it
in. You all have been gracious. We are honored you invited us, and any other time you want to know about the Grammys, reach out to us.
Yes.
Helen's available. I'm available. I'm Deanna, DYANA at Influence Entertainment.
Oh, wow.
And that's
give you the email.
Yeah, I thought you were giving us your Instagram. I was ready to follow you on Instagram.
Fun, but
you might get some D pics, D.
Absolutely. I'm Helen.
That's not my style. Yeah. But anyway, the website is influenceentertainment.com. Helen?
Yes. And you can follow us on Instagram. It's Helen, HELEN, AND, Terry, TERRY, Helen and Terry. And just come on, you could DM me, whatever. I'll get right back to you, and then I'll give you all the information. And I'll help you in any kind of way, because somebody helped me. Exactly. And you know what I mean? So, and that was Deanna and so many others, and Patti LaBelle, and so many others that have really shed, and really just built me up. So I'm ready.
And shout out the members of the Recording Academy, all the nominees, everybody who submitted and will submit in the future. And we want to thank each of you for your time, for your beautiful questions.
Yes.
Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to just kind of take the veil off that many people perceive us to have, and to share with you quite openly what is.
And Pooh, you wanted to say something, Pooh?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a good question. Out of all, you said the Grammys was a week long. You've been to the Grammys probably plenty of times. Somebody had to do it the best. Who threw the best parties out of everybody? What's the best party you going to Grammy week?
You know what? To me, the best party is a gentleman from he actually is part of our chapter. And he is VP at Morgan Stanley. His name is Ted Reed.
Oh,
yes, Ted! That's my guy.
Ted's party is Black Hollywood shows up.
Yeah.
With down to her. I mean, everybody is there, from Lil Baby all the way to Jay. I mean, I swear, I've not seen a time where there hasn't been. It's just amazing. And
that's a non-Grammy official party. I think he was asking about Grammy parties.
The actual Grammy parties?
Actual Grammy parties?
Period. The whole
that week. Ted Reed's party. It's Ted Reed's party. And like Helen said, it is a who's who. You turn around, you're bumping into people. It is a power forward opportunity. I've never been to Jay-Z's The Rock Nation brunch, but I hear it's fabulous.
It's banging, girl. It's banging.
Helen, did you go? Didn't you go last year?
Just one time. But I would say Clive Davis' party is amazing.
You go to Clive Davis's party every year, though.
Yes.
I seen Beyonce. I felt like I was looking at an angel. I was like, Beyonce's right there.
Wow. Was it everything that it's made out to be, Mina?
It's amazing. I mean, it's free food, and it's like every artist just walking around like it's like she's walking around like she not Beyonce.
Yeah.
Because she's at home.
Right.
That's what like everybody, we all people, like, you know what I mean? And so many artists, huge superstars, because they're all, when we sit in the room, I'm telling you, I wish you could be a fly on the wall. I mean, folks is like, all right, taking their shoes off, and, we talk about our kids and, just different stuff. So, and I'm talking about everybody.
But here's what I want to say. Sly and the Family Stone, it's an old school song, but they said it best when they said, everybody is a star.
Yes.
Everybody is a star.
Yeah.
And then Wind and Fire said, you're a shining star.
Yeah.
No matter who
all
you
shine,
are.
we all have our different level of brilliance, but as do you. So thank you for having us. We
Thank you
guys
so much, guys.
So much.
All right.
Bye, ladies.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. Happy
Be
holidays.
blessed.
Yes,
Be
happy
blessed.
holidays.
Keep up the good work, y'all.
Thank you for
you.
joining us.
Great
Anytime,
job.
call.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bowling.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
How amazing was that?
Yeah, it was so amazing.
Look at Deanna doing her little fade out. Okay. She all fancy.
With the fade. The slow
Is that fade down? Guys, I know it was a lot because there was literally like 6 of us, you know, so
Oh, it was good.
it was
informative.
absolutely. So well, that's the pod. Thank you to Helen and Deanna for joining us and just educating us. And I think the big takeaway is, you know, the more of our artists that we can get into the Recording Academy, the more different these categories will look and these nominations will look. So that's really what it comes down to. And based off what they said, I feel like they are moving in a direction where they are trying to be more diverse. So at least, you know, that is on their radar. So that sums everything up. You guys want to add anything?
No, that was amazing.
I love
it. Really was.
Where did Dex go? Dex, you dipped on us, man.
Dex, you know, Dex probably going to bed. He had 2 weeks of. He's so excited. he had 2 weeks.
Face when he gets excited is hilarious.
He's like, oh my God, oh my God, this is so amazing. So he's had enough excitement for a day. He went to bed. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Please subscribe on the YouTube. I see our numbers slowly going up and it just feels good. I also want to thank everyone that's listening in different countries. You know, this podcast thing is a worldwide thing. Anybody can find it on the internet. And I was just really pleased to see that, you know, we are trending well in other countries. And just want to kind of outline that we are position 28 in the music category in Egypt.
Hey, Egypt.
Hey, I'm coming down there. We are at position 114 in the music category in Guatemala. Oye, Guatemala, ¿cómo están? Oye, ¿dónde están los tostones? No, they don't have tostones in Guatemala. And then we're on position 224 in the music category in Ecuador. So,
Ecuador. I never even knew Ecuador was a thing, and they know about us.
Yes, where's the ceviche at? So thank you to everyone listening, not just abroad, but also in the States. We appreciate your support. Please find us on YouTube, subscribe, the Mina's House podcast. Of course, audio version is on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Podcasts, podcast app, all of that. Okay, so thank you and have a great day. And we'll talk to you next week. I'm Mina, say what?
I'm Shayna B.
Barnett Briscoe, aka Sherlock Homeboy.
And Dexa One went to bed. And this is the Mina's House podcast. Bye.